Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is Friday Favorites, Fancifuls and Flounders for the week. I have a really good mix of products, I feel like. I do have a flounder this week, and it was kind of a big one, and I'm super bummed about it, but whatever. We'll get into that in a minute. And I also have kind of a random, like, food, well, it's actually a drink favorite, so we'll get into that after we get into the makeup. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so for primer this week, I started using my Tarte, what is this called? Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. That's what the little container looks like. And I went kind of Tarte crazy this past couple weeks buying different things because I really want to film a complete Tarte collection review and tutorial with a bunch of Tarte's products. So I didn't have a primer that I really liked. So I wanted to pick this one up and see if I liked it, and I really do like it. It's just kind of a really light pink, very thick, moussey cream texture. This primer does a really good job at smoothing out pores. You do need just a tiny bit of it. You can go overboard very quickly with this product. So if you have this, just use like a tiny amount. And what I do is I like to put it right on my T-zone and just very gently pat it in. If you start to rub it, it can get a little bit wonky. It can kind of ball up a little bit. So I just kind of smooth it on and then I press it into the skin. And it also does a really good job at kind of blurring out any fine lines that you may have around your eyes or on your forehead, anything like that. So this has definitely been my favorite primer for the week. But I do have a drugstore alternative. This is the L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base, and that's what this looks like. This, I believe, is like, I don't know, like 12 bucks. It's pricey definitely for drugstore, but same with the Tarte one. You just need a tiny amount. This is a light pink color. You definitely get less product. You get half a fluid ounce in the L'Oreal one, and, oh, I totally lied. You have the same amount of product. It's just this has a crap ton more packaging, as you can see. So you do get the same amount of product. So this is 12, 13 bucks, and I believe this is about 40. So if you're not wanting to go out and splurge on this kind of primer, you can go to the drugstore and get the L'Oreal one for quite a bit less, but it is still pricey. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next thing I have is the Tarte the Sculptor Contour Face Slenderizer Pencil. And this is in the shade Park Avenue Princess. I believe they only have one shade. And this is a contouring stick. It basically looks like a big chubby crayon. And it is a very warm, kind of almost red. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a very warm red terracotta color. And this is supposed to be a cream contour. So basically what you're supposed to do is just draw this on your face on the places that you would typically contour and then buff it out with a brush or with a beauty blender, whatever. And it is a cream contour. I didn't think I was going to like this, but I really do enjoy it. I thought the color was going to be way too warm for me, but it's actually really flattering and it looks quite natural. And I love the precision of this. You can contour your nose, you can contour your hairline and your forehead without feeling like you're contouring your entire face and adding too much color all over the place. So this is really nice. This blends extremely easily. I actually use the brush that you're supposed to like, it's its companion brush, and I forget what this brush is called, but it's a double-ended brush, and it has a very dense kind of blending side. And then it has a really fluffy, more angled blending side. And what I do is I put this product on, and then I will quickly take this end and just buff in the product. And then I'll go back in with a fluffy brush and really blend it in and make sure there aren't any harsh lines. So I would definitely suggest picking the brush up with this. I think it makes this product a lot easier to use and just kind of more mindless. You don't really have to think about the blending. You have both sides, which do really great jobs. So these two together have been awesome this week. Another cream product that I have been using this week is from Revlon, and it is their Photo Ready Cream Blush in Flushed number 200. Now this is a very hot pink, like super duper hot pink, and you would think that this would be more of a summer color, But I really like using cream products in the winter because it is a little bit drier. Your skin's a little bit drier, and you can add those extra moisturizing products onto your skin without feeling like you're going to be oily or anything like that. So I've been reaching for this hot pink color, and let me give you a little swatch. That's what that looks like. In the formula of these, it's right there, is great. It dries down to a powdery finish. It's not like the, if you're familiar with NYX Cosmetics cream blushes, those are very thick, very creamy, borderline greasy. And you definitely have to set those. You could get away with not using a powder over these. I typically like to layer a powdered blush over a cream blush just because it bumps up the pigmentation of the powder blush, and it also makes it last a little bit longer, but you can get away without setting this for sure. So if you're in the market for a new kind of inexpensive cream blush, I would definitely check out the Revlon cream blushes. They're super nice and they blend easily and they dry to that really nice powdered finish. So for actual blush, bronzer, and highlighter, I have been using the Park Ave Princess Contour Palette from Tarte, and they released this for the holidays. I don't know if it's going to be permanent or not, but it is available still. At least last time I checked Ulta, it was still available, and that is where I got mine, was at Ulta. I haven't seen it at Sephora, have I? I don't think I've seen it at Sephora, but that doesn't mean it's not at Sephora. So what this is a palette that comes with a matte bronzer. This is Park Ave Princess Bronzer. And then it doesn't say what the colors of the blush is, but it comes with like a kind of mauve, rosy pink blush and then a golden highlight. And I've been using this entire palette for everything and almost every single day this week. The bronzer is awesome. You can do both bronzing and contouring with this bronzer. Use a fluffier brush for your bronzer and then go in with a more dense brush, and it makes the perfect contour. And especially layered over that contour stick, you can really get a nice defined contour if that's what you're going for, or you can use it without the cream product with just a fluffy brush and get a much more natural look. Now, the blush isn't as pigmented as I would have expected from Tarte. It's still really pretty. I love the color, but I like it even more when it is layered on top of some sort of cream product like that Revlon one. So those have been kind of my little duo of blush this week. I have been putting the Revlon cream blush on first, and then I go back in with the blush in the palette and set it, and it really beefs up the pigmentation of this blush because it's not very pigmented, and I was kind of surprised by that, but that doesn't mean that I don't like it. And then my least favorite product, or yeah, I guess product in this palette was the highlighter. This is a golden highlighter, and this definitely isn't a bam in your face kind of highlighter. This is definitely a more subtle, more natural, glowy highlighter, and I think this highlighter would best suit medium to darker skin tones because when I put it on my skin, you almost can't see it at all. It almost doesn't add any highlight. It just adds a little bit of a golden sheen. So it's pretty, but it's not necessarily as dramatic or highlighting as I typically like. So what I do is I will put that on, and then I will layer some sort of other highlighting product just on top just to give it a little bit more, I don't know, highlighty effect. But if you guys are in the market for a travel kind of contour blush highlight palette, I would highly suggest this one. And just because these products aren't super pigmented doesn't mean that they're not good. Sometimes it is nice to have some of those no fuss products that you don't have to worry about going overboard, that you can just dig your brush in and slap it on and it's gonna look good and it's never gonna look overdone. So go check this out and at least swatch it and see if you like it. Okay, so along with the contour palette, I have been using a specific brush, and the brush is the Face and Body Sculpting Brush from Physicians Formula. Now, I really wanted to pick up the Becca brush, but that brush is $49, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like a brush in this shape. The Becca one is definitely thinner, and it's made out of natural goat hair, where this is more of a synthetic. But I wanted to see if I was going to like the shape of this brush, and it turns out that I absolutely love it. And because I loved it so much, I finally broke down and went and got the Becca brush, but I haven't even used the Becca brush yet. because I love this brush so much. This is an amazing brush for bronzing. It makes your bronzing go by like that. It is so fast, so easy, blends the product. It's so soft. It doesn't shed. It's just amazing. So what I like to do is take whatever product I'm using for bronzing, dip this in, and I just start right at my forehead and kind of buff it in. Then I'll bring it down, buff it up on my cheekbones, and then on my jawline. And it takes seriously like 3 seconds. It's awesome, awesome stuff. So if you guys are in a market for a nice bronzing brush and something a little different, I would definitely pick this one up. So for eyes this week, I didn't come across anything new that I absolutely loved. I have gotten a couple new palettes that I'm trying out and seeing what kinds of combinations that work with my eye color and my skin tone and things like that. But nothing new has really just blown me away. So for New Year's Eve, I did end up using my Vice 3 palette. Now I featured this a couple weeks ago in my Friday favorites and talked about the matte colors in the palette, which are on this side right here. But this week I went ahead and used this row right here, which is those red, burgundy, kind of purple colors, and created what I thought was a beautiful smoky eye. It was something different, a little bit unexpected. It was different than the traditional gray or brown smoky eye, but still added a lot of drama. And because I have blue eyes, these warm colors just made them stand out so much. I did film that look, and I will have a tutorial up. I'm not sure when. It'll probably be after this video, but when it is up, I'll go ahead and link it below. But I loved this row, and I know a lot of people have been saying that they really like this row of kind of pinky reddened tones, but I don't know, I wasn't a fan of them at first, and then I decided to go ahead and break this out, and I really loved the look that I came up with. So for a lipstick this week, I went out and got one of the new CoverGirl lipsticks. Now, I have never been a huge fan of CoverGirl lipsticks, but I've never hated them. And I stumbled across this display, and they kind of have them broken into color families. So they have nudes, pinks, plums, and reds, I believe. And I was most drawn to the nudes, of course, because I'm boring and lame, and I don't step outside of my little lipstick box at all. And I picked up the color 245 Honeyed Blue. And the packaging, let me show you. That's what the packaging looks like. It's kind of like a pinky rose gold case, and then it has the color on the bottom. Which is nice if you have a ton of lipsticks. I don't, so it doesn't really bother me if I can't tell what color it is. And then that is what the color looks like there. Let's see if I can give you a little swatcheroo. And that's the color right there. So I really like this. I like the formula. The formula is creamy, but not so creamy where it just slides and glides across your lips. It definitely has some staying power, and it kind of dries down to almost a satin matte finish. It's not 100% matte where it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't have that glossy shine that some lipsticks have. And I just think that this Honey Bloomed color is just amazing. It is the perfect kind of mid-tone nudie pink. And for me, it's a good color, not so much nude, because I'm really trying to break out of the box and kind of do some color on my lips. And I feel like this is a good step in the color direction, if you will, because it's definitely not nude. It's definitely pink, but it's not too pink where I feel uncomfortable wearing it. And you can totally top this with a nude gloss and make it more of that baby pink, more of a milky color. But anyways, these are new. They're not in the permanent displays yet, I don't think. So kind of look on the end caps and the news section at your drugstore and see if there's a color that you guys like to pick up. And if you guys have favorite colors from this line or any other drugstore brand, let me know. And I'm, like I said, trying to break out of the nude box. Okay, so for some other kind of, they're still beauty favorites, but they're not really makeup favorites. I picked up, let me see here. I picked up the Masters Brush Cleanser from Michaels. Now, I have never used the Solid Beauty Blender Cleanser, but I wanted to give a kind of solid cleanser a try since I have gotten some new brushes, I want to make sure that I'm taking care of them because they are a little bit more high end. And one of my New Year's beauty resolutions is to wash my brushes a lot more, just because it's so much better for your skin. It's better for the longevity of your brushes. It applies makeup better. So it's just a good overall rule to wash your brushes quite often. And so I thought a solid like this would be a lot easier than pouring the soap in the brush and having to swirl it around and whatnot. So this is one of my favorites. It kind of has a pledge smell, you know, like a lemon wood cleaner smell, but it's not, I mean, it's not horrible and it doesn't stick around on your brushes, but this stuff melts makeup off like nobody's business, and it's fairly inexpensive. I think this size, which is a 2.5 ounce, was I think 10 bucks, and I have used it multiple times this week and have barely made a dent in it. So really enjoy that for my brushes. And then after I'm done washing my brushes and I kind of pat them dry on a paper towel, I will go in with my Sephora Daily Makeup Brush Cleanser and just do a couple spritzes of that on the bristles before I set them out to dry. Just because this is antibacterial, I don't think this is antibacterial, so I want to make sure that I'm killing any germs, any bacteria. So I go ahead and spray the brushes, and I don't know, I haven't noticed any breakouts or anything like that, which I typically don't with my brushes or anything like that. My skin isn't that sensitive, but I just figured it's a good extra step to just go ahead and spritz them, make sure that all the germs are being killed and that they're really clean. To dry my brushes, I went ahead and picked up these little brush guards. I found mine at Walmart. They were on clearance, so I don't think that if you're not finding them on like your clearance section or anything like that, I don't think that you can find them at Walmart anymore. But I know like Target has them. I know Sigma has some different ones. So you can definitely find these. And these are just like a plastic. They remind me of those Chinese finger trap things. They're just like a mesh. And what you do is, I have a couple brushes here, is you wash them and then you stick them on the end and pull the brush through like that, and then stick them upside down so that the water doesn't go into the actual brush handle, the ferrule. Anyways, so the water doesn't go into the brush and kind of mess up that part, but then also so the water drips down and dries a little bit quicker. So these have been a favorite, and they do make really big ones. These ones are drying. So they do make super big ones for like really big heavy duty brushes, which I was really happy to find because these brushes are super hard. I mean, you want these nice dense buffing brushes to stay dense. So you want to make sure you can find a brush guard that will keep them tight, but that's big enough to go over it. Does that make sense? Do I really make any sense? So anyways, I just really like these, and I just put mine in a little candle holder, and let me get them all put back in here. I just put mine in like this little candle holder and set them out. That way air can easily go through it and help dry them even quicker. So now time for my random favorite, and this is my last favorite or fanciful for the week, and it is a drink. This is the Wild Cider gluten-free hard berry. This stuff is amazing. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to find this where you live because this is a locally brewed beer from my state. It's brewed in Firestone, but I don't know if they ship or whatever, but I am not a beer drinker. I don't like beer. I've never liked beer. I've tried it, but I just can't seem to acquire the taste for it. But we were at a restaurant and they had this, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. It's a cider, so maybe it won't be too beery tasting or whatever. I tried it and I loved it, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to find it in any of my liquor stores, but I was talking to the guy on New Year's Eve at the liquor store, and I was like, do you know of a beer that was brewed in Firestone that's kind of pink in color, that doesn't really taste like beer? And he's like, no, not really. But then there was another guy who overheard me talking to him, and he's like, wait, where was it brewed? So I told him again, and he's like, yeah, let me show you. So he brought me to the back of the liquor store, and he's like, is this what it was called? And I was like, I don't know, but I'll try it. So I brought it home and I tried it, and I really like it. I also appreciate the fact that it's gluten-free because I do have a little bit of a gluten sensitivity. It causes my hands to break out in eczema really bad. So I try to stay away from gluten as much as I can, but let's get real. It's hard. I mean, everything I feel like has gluten in it, but it's nice that you can enjoy something that typically has gluten in it, but that's gluten-free and doesn't taste like, I don't know, sand because it's gluten-free. Anyways, long story short, this is my new favorite alcoholic beverage. And then I feel like this is also kind of getting me into liking beer more often, or I feel like this is getting me to like the taste of beer a little bit better too. We went out to a restaurant a couple nights ago and I actually ordered an Angry Orchard, which is a cider too, but it's a little bit more of a beer tasting cider. It's not as sweet as this. This is definitely a sweet kind of berry flavored, almost champagne beer hybrid. I don't know. That sounds really weird. But if you guys can get your hands on this, try it out. They have multiple flavors. They have pineapple, apple, berry, and I can't remember what other one they have. There's one other one, but I like the hard berry. So anyways, there's that. Okay, so on to my flounder. Now this was kind of, I don't know how I felt about this. I always say I expect things to be a flounder, but that's bad. I don't know. Let me just show you what it is, okay? So this is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte 24-Hour Foundation, and I have the shade 101 Classic Ivory. Now, the formula of this is really nice. It comes out kind of a thinner consistency than you would expect from a medium to full coverage foundation that is matte. So it's kind of a thinner cream foundation, and my problem wasn't the way it applied. It wasn't the coverage. It wasn't anything like that. My problem with this is it looked really nice when I first applied it, and I've applied it multiple ways. I've applied it with a really big brush. I've applied it with a beauty blender. I've applied it with my fingers. So it wasn't the application or anything like that. My problem lies in the way that it lasted on my skin and the way it performed like 2 hours after I would apply it. This stuff emphasized my pores so horribly. It didn't matter what primer I was using. I could have used the Tarte one. I could have used the L'Oreal one that I just showed you. I could have used my NYX Angel Veil. It didn't matter what I used with this foundation. But about 2 to 3 hours after it was on, it started to break up on my face. It started to become very shiny and slippery looking, and it made my pores look giant. Even places where I don't have pores, like, or not pores, but enlarged pores, like on my cheeks and on my chin and stuff, it just made them look huge. So this was an epic fail for me. That doesn't mean it's going to be a fail for you. I definitely don't think that if you're dry, you can't use this. I mean, as I throw it on the floor, like I said, it got really oily on me, and I have a pretty normal kind of skin, what do you call that, skin condition. I'm not super oily, I'm not super dry, I'm a little bit drier now that it's winter. In the summer I get a little bit oilier, so I feel like I'm pretty normal, and it got really, really, really oily on me. So maybe if you're super oily skin, you want to maybe if you have super oily skin, you want to kind of stay away from that. But if you have drier skin, I don't think that you're going to have a huge problem with it emphasizing like dry patches on your skin. So anyways, guys, that is it. That was a long favorite. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you learned some things about a couple different products. Let me know down below what your guys' favorites for the week were. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.